George Medicki will lead us away in that Sonic Motor Racing Bob Jane T-Mart's Falcon. And of course, the fast guys have to come from the back half of the top 10. Let's have a look at the Townsville Street Circuit. 2.86 kilometres. It's got a bit of a bull ring feel. The fans can get really close to the action.
They can, you know, and it's actually not a long track. Really doesn't take long to get into the groove of this track. Very, very tough. The walls are tight. Now, there's only a couple of passing spots. 13's one of them, turn 2's another, and down into turn 11's one of the third, and pretty much only passing opportunities. George
Medicki has been here before in the V8 Utes, first time here in V8 Supercars. David Russell and Tim Blanchard, they're on road 2. Yulden, who's done such a great job, has done some laps this weekend in Shane Van Gisbergen's SP Tools car in the practice sessions, the co-driver sessions ahead of the endurance races. Change of chassis for Dale Wood this weekend at Greg Murphy Racing. And the Russell boys, Drew and Aaron, they're from Newcastle, but they're honorary Townsville citizens this weekend because they're part of the City of Townsville sponsorship program. Paul Morris a bit further back on the grid in the Barocca Commodore, returning to the series. So let's get running. Race 2 of the weekend, reverse top 10. This is where stuff happens. This is where you have to be impatient. You have to keep your nose clean. It's a great jump from the second row. In fact, from the third row, look at Luke Yulden down the inside. He's already made ground.
Medicki there just closing the door on him. He knows how important it is. Lost it.
Into the fence. He and Blanchard got together, and the FPR thought he's wounded.
As you come down into turn 1 there, it does narrow up. Yulden up the inside. Oh, there's a bit of contact there as well. 3 wide with Andy Jones.
There was contact on the way through there. Scott Pye puts his nose in. Medicki's got some clear air.
A bit more contact there from Scott Pye on the inside.
That was Olympic Dreamtime Commodore. It was Cam Waters just at the back of the last shot. Walsh is sideways on the run through 5 and 6. It's willing, it's wild, it is on for young and old, and Russell covers the line from McLaughlin, the race 1 winner.
Now, I think that Dreamtime Commodore of Cam Waters there, that problem, I think, has arose from the Mostert clash at turn 1, so it'd be good to see a replay of that.
Pye lunging, having a look. David Russell doing more than a look. Takes the spot from Ash Walsh, who desperate to get off the turn, lights it up in the Simpro 4. On board with Rodney Jane, who qualified 12th, 11th in race 1. Just starting to settle into a rhythm.
Oh, a bit of an overlap there with Dale Wood coming on the straight. Very close, and the guys that are in contention for this championship have done a great job here at the start, apart from obviously Chaz, who had a drama. McLaughlin's there, Pye's up there, Yulden's down the inside. That's a good move.
McLaughlin's coming as well. He's in deep, but he gets it done on Ash Walsh.
Now just remember, Yulden yesterday had a drama with his brakes, so let's see how he goes today. Andy Jones back up the inside. Bit of over and under trick there.
It's been done a few times this weekend, and this Kitten Commodore was pretty badly damaged actually at the last round at Barbagallo in that start line incident with Dale Wood. They've put a new right front corner on this car, and he's sideways. He's defending Scott Pye.
Pye
gets into the back of Yulden and sends the Global Ford down the road.
That is something that the stewards do not find, I guess, not so much funny, but that you cannot do that. Front-to-back contact is a no-no, especially when you're trying to pass.
That started with Jones wide on the exit through the grass. Yep. Sort of backed them up. Russell gets a move on Pye. It's just so... You don't know where to look in these reverse grid races. Mostert's made it back to the lane. Right front is punctured. There's Cam Waters.
Another shock. You just heard the mechanic there saying it's done a left front shock. So obviously that contact from Mostert has done quite a bit of damage to both cars.
Now Tim Blanchard was also involved in the contact. He's still running, but Medicki's pulled clear from that early drama. Jones next, then Pye, Russell, Walsh, McLaughlin, Nick Percat next in the Coates High Commodore, then Rodney Jane, Dale Wood and Jeff Emery just at the back of the pack. This might explain a little bit more. Blanchard, I think, just lost it and got a little bit wide. Probably didn't know Mostert was there.
Now, yeah, absolutely. There was no contact there with Cam Waters, so it's got to be up here towards turn 2 somewhere. Looking back from the inside of Rodney Jane's car, let's see if there's any contact here.
Have a look at this. It was on between Jones and...
Oh, there it is.
There. There's the touch. So Chaz was wounded and trying to get himself sorted on the exit of turn 1, and that's where Cam Waters gets the hit. Whack.
There you go. It's, you know, I can't help but think that...
Now, this was where the Pye drama was. Jones was out on the curb. They backed up a little bit, but I think Scott will go for that one.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be very, very lucky if he gets away with that. You can see the damage on the front bonnet of Pye's Monster Commodore there. and I can't help but feel that this championship is going to be won by the person who doesn't do the massive lockup from Rodney Jane in the background.
How about McLaughlin? He was in deep too, had the rear of the Fujitsu Ford skating around.
Just going back to what I was saying, I got a feeling that this championship is going to be won by the people who are actually the smartest in these reverse grid races, because you can lose a lot of points here.
10 laps to go in race 2 in Townsville. More in a sec. Back in Townsville with the Dunlop Series for V8 Supercars, under safety car at the moment, and the reason why is this. Dale Wood, GB galvanising Commodore, into the back of Rodney Jane, and again, sends him around into the path of Wood's own teammate, Jeff Emery, and the damage to Jane's car too much. It was stopped, and hence why we've got a safety car.
There's a massive amount of damage on the front of this car. When you look at the front shot, it's torn the front of the car off. Unbelievable. Into his teammate too, so... But it's just fallen apart. Did it have any bolts in it?
Well, it doesn't now. They're all on the road. Now, this is Scott Pine. We saw this before the break, just tapping Luke Yulden right when the car's unloaded under brakes. He's been given a pit lane penalty during the break. He's rejoined. He's 19th on the road as we get a restart this time by George Benecke leads us away. Andrew Jones second, but Scott McLaughlin, the race 1 winner who started 10th, he's up to 3rd and charging.
He's done a great job. This has closed them up. Really having a look, trying to have a look down the inside of Andy Jones there on the start. Jones blocks and does a good job. Here we go on the inside, Russell.
Yeah, that gives David Russell, the Dreamtime Racing Commodore. They've got 3 Indigenous apprentices working with them this weekend as part of the new Dreamtime Racing program. It's a great thing that Kelly Racing have got involved in.
You can see the restart now. Medecki's just gotten away from this group who have been battling the first couple of corners. Andy Jones a bit wide there. Scott McLaughlin gets a good run through, but can't very, very hard section to pass here into turn 7, 8, 9 complex. But I'm liking the way Scott McLaughlin is really starting to use his head in these races. He's not pulling off silly manoeuvres. He's biding his time, having a look there, probably just cooling the brakes off a little bit as well. And, you know, he knows that there's a long way to go in this race, and he can win this race from this position.
The flag is being displayed for car number 45 for a pit lane drive-through penalty for a driving infringement. Confirm black flag, pit lane drive-through penalty for car number 45.
That's race director Paul Taylor.
They're giving us a black flag, mate. Black flag, car 45.
That's for Dale Wood. Well, not happy, Dale Wood.
Nothing we can do, mate. They've already made the call. They won't reverse it.
Exactly what I was going to say. The boys at Greg Murphy Racing on the phone to Dale to say, well, look, once we've got the penalty, we have to take it. You can argue it as much as you like. They're not going to take it back.
And you know what? Much better to do the stop-and-go penalty or the drive-through penalty within the confines of the race. If they do get a safety car later, it could close it back up and he's got opportunity to get back further up the grid.
And if he had to cop a pit lane penalty in one of the 3 races, this is the one, because it's half points of the other 2. So I know he's probably not thinking that right about now. He's just got to hustle as fast and do as much as he can with the couple of laps that he's got left. Walsh is a little bit wide there, and that's going to get a chance for David Russell. Look at this, turn 10, the cars are really unloaded as they come across the piece of road that, when you follow it, actually forms the pit straight.
It does, actually, and it's one of the main roads within, you know, Townsville itself. So a lot of trucks use it. You can see there the bumps are actually from the road where it drops away as Dale Wood peels into the pit lane by the look of it.
Oh.
Yes, he does. Oh.
Walsh wide, Russell smiling, gets through and takes the spot away, moves to 5th. But Ash Walsh, we talked about at the start of the show, he's done a good job this year. It's an older model car from Matt Stone Racing. It's the car Scott McLaughlin drove last year.
McLaughlin's got past Andy Jones too, so it's right on the back of Medecki. It's going to make this interesting. There's 3 laps to go. Percat's on Andy Jones now, so you know, the championship contenders are really starting to come to the forefront in this race.
Percat starting to put the pressure on the Kitten Commodore. Remember that Nick finished 4th here in Townsville last year. He's been turning some laps with Garth Tanner and the Holden Racing Team number 2 car ahead of the Enduros. Of course, they'll defend their crown on the mountain in October, but Nick would love nothing more than to get back into the championship mix. Coming in this weekend, he's 6th in the points. He's a fair way down on Mostert and McLaughlin and the like, but if he strings a couple of good rounds together, he's back in the mix.
Absolutely. Nick really does this. Look up the inside, and he's a pretty smart cookie. He's been around a while. He covered that quite well, but Nick really needs to get... Oh, McLaughlin. He's just caught Medecki hand over fist in 2 laps and takes the lead. I mean, he made that look very, very easy.
So from 10th on the grid, he goes to the lead with a handful of laps left to run. Nevertheless, though, George Medicki should be really happy with himself. He was down. He was so down after Perth because he just didn't do a good enough job. He's piecing together a good weekend here. Qualified 7th, 10th in race 1, on target for top 2 in race 2.
Yeah, that's great. If he can just hang in there, that'll give him a really good start position for race 3. Obviously, full points in race 3. But these guys here, you know, I don't think Percat's done yet. If he can get past Andy Jones, I think he's got some speed in that Walkinshaw Commodore, and he can really catch up to Medecki by the end of the race.
A couple of bits of news in the Dunlop series. This weekend is the first time that it's been compulsory for the control engine camshaft to be used that's used in the V8 Supercars Championship. Some cars and teams have been running with it already, but everyone's got it on board from Townsville onwards, and announced this week too that the BF Falcon will be phased out at the end of this season, and the FG Falcon will be the one to have next year, as Percat now puts the move on Jones. He's been working on this for a couple of laps. That's a good decisive pass.
Oh, Andy there just squeezing in between Percat and Russell there. Good job to just not lose 2 spots in one go there. Very, very easy to do.
We'll see Andrew in action at the Enduros later on the year. He'll be with Jason Bright again in the BOC Commodore, and David Russell will be with Rick Kelly for Jack Daniels Racing. This is the replay of Walsh. That loose went for ages, and for a second I thought he was going to loop it.
He did. Here's Scott McLaughlin there getting up the inside of Medecki. Medecki, must say, did leave a lot of room there for McLaughlin to go through. So, being the lead of the race, I would have covered a little bit more if it was me.
And now David Russell putting the pressure on Ash. Walsh is sideways in the background. And tyre strategy is critical, because for qualifying in the 3 races, you've got 2 sets of Dunlop tyres. So some guys tend to use their better tyres in this one and charge through. Others save them up for the final race. I think in the case of McLaughlin, he might have decided to use a new set of rears for this race. That was Scott Pye off through the runoff area down where he got involved with Luke Gilden a little bit earlier on. So this race has not gone to plan for him at all.
No, he hasn't. He's really struggled this race. Made a few silly maneuvers. Now Walsh up the inside of Russell. Good move there. Last lap starting now. Now these guys, they've bunched up a little bit now, and you can see how far the other guys, as we see a replay of Ash Walsh, just hanging it out there through turn 6.
And this is a replay of, now Scott Pye here trying to go round the outside of Dan Gillison, and never going to make it.
As long as he gets through there and doesn't make positions.
Oh, here he is again. He's involved in drama with Russell. And he goes across the front of Gillison. And the Monster Commodore is damaged, and I reckon he's done.
Scott Pye, you can actually see the left fronts hanging off that car. That's got some sort of suspension damage there.
Remember, that's the car that won the series last year in the hands of Andrew Thompson, and if it was to fail to finish, I think it's the first time it's ever racked up a DNF in the Dunlop series. But how about Scott McLaughlin? 10th on the grid and a race win 1 corner away.
Oh, what a fantastic job. And you can have a look at that Fujitsu Falcon, not a mark on it. All 3 of these guys have done a great job. Medecki's under pressure from Percat, who gets a good drive out of the last corner.
But McLaughlin wins his 3rd race in a row. 1 in Perth, 2 in Townsville. Medecki home in 2nd. Great drive from Percat to run home 3rd. Then Jones, then Walsh, then Russell. Elliot Barber, the rookie's done a fantastic job in that XGRM Commodore. They've had some engine dramas earlier on in the weekend, but it's come good now. He finishes 7th. But McLaughlin set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.25, back on lap 5. Now, let's have a look at this drama with Scott Pye. He's just in too deep. He just taps the rear of Russell. That sends him across the front of Gillison and finished him off, really.
He just locks the rears up way too deep under brakes. Last lap, obviously still hot under the collar from that drive-through penalty. And now he's getting 0 points in this race.
And that will hurt him for the grid for race 3. Barber, as I mentioned, 7th. Luke Gilden in 8th. That's a good recovery from him. Emery and Drew Russell ran it at the top 10. Brett Stewart, good job in 12th. Scott Pye shown as 19th. He does fail to finish. Chaz Mostert will inherit that position.
Well, Scotty, what a rocket. You picked your way through nicely there.
Yeah, it was crazy stuff. I've never seen so much crazy stuff in my life. But no, it was good fun, and the car's awesome. So hopefully going to make it 3 out of 3.
And that championship, valuable points. You're right up there now.
Yeah, it's good. You know, I saw Chaz have a bit of problems. It's bad luck to him, but it's made me a little bit better. So see if we can keep carrying on to December.
And here's the bad luck that occurred for Chaz Mostert. The 2nd crash of the weekend. He crashed in practice 1. He got contact with Tim Blanchard here that really affected his race.
Well, Chaz, you certainly got crunched in that one.
Certainly did. that's reverse grid races are always good for a bit of action. You know, turn 2 here is a natural funnel, so everyone try and, you know, gets the inside as quick as they can. And I was on the outside and I was happy out there, and I think there might have been a bit of a kerfuffle just in front of me when I was coming up beside him, and the cars come out and hit me and put me into the wall, but that's the way it is, and hopefully they can repair it, you know, good as new. But the boys here are brilliant, so I'm sure they'll get it done right.
Stick with us after the break. It's the third and final race in the Dunlop Series, Streets of Townsville.